Hey guys, what's up? Today I wanted to do a little tutorial on how to beat the Lantern King. Specifically, I did it with a Sorcerer and multiclass with Arcane Trickster, but some of the advice given in this video is good for all classes, and some of the advice would be specific for the Sorcerer, but I mainly want to talk about phases. Like, the king has 4 phases, and if you do specific things in the phases, if you look for specific things, it can help for all classes. And yeah, I did this for several hours to figure this stuff out, but like now I could just reload my game from the start of the fight and could do this in, yeah, however long this video is, 15 minutes or something. Because, yeah, following these steps is pretty safe. There's not much room for error. So as you can see, I start out the fight with in phase 1 with, like, I go in, the fight starts, but I went immediately out again. So they target Nyrissa. So it's important to have Nyrissa for this. You can definitely quite easily cheese this fight without Nyrissa. You can use Cloud Kill, and I don't think it really works with Nyrissa because she's running around in the room and drawing the enemies after her. So Nyrissa is not just 100% cheese. She helps you. She also makes the fight a little bit more difficult, I guess, in the end. But I find her pretty helpful just to keep the enemies off me. So as you can see here, the Lantern King is casting a spell called Everything Ends. And Everything Ends looks like a dispel. And guess what? It's a dispel. And because it has such a nice and juicy name, it's a unique spell and it dispels all your buffs at once. And I don't think it actually rolls a check. It just guaranteed the spell. You can't do anything against it. So that's why I did this little runaway at the start. Don't want to get hit by it. His next attack he does, the End of All. Now this is a level drain. So you need, if you don't have the Death Ward spell as a sorcerer, you don't have it. But the way I got my Arcane Trickster was putting 1 level into Vivisectionist. There's gonna be a build guide for the Sorcerer, probably tomorrow. And because I'm a Vivisectionist, I can use all the scrolls that Vivisectionist would get as spell. And there's Death Ward and there's Freedom of Movement. I can cast them without a caster check. So I don't need to use Magic Device for that. So that's the 2 spells that you need for this fight if you don't have like immunity to death spells from Paladin. And if you don't have like immunity to paralyze or to hold, yeah, to paralyze from like Vivisectionist level 10 or other sources where you could get that, then you need those 2 spells, Death Ward and Freedom of Movement. And then as you can see, after the Lantern King casts Everything Ends, for quite a while he's not gonna cast it. So you wanna attack him right after he casts Everything Ends. Ideally, if he is in the south part of the map, because as you can see, if he is in the south part of the map, you don't get engaged by the next phase. So you can run down all the way to the south, wait till combat ends, and you can just save the game. So that's quite helpful. And I healed up by turning into human form. I skipped it for this video, but you can see it by my dragon down in my spell bar. I had 6 casts, now I had 5, so I turned into human. I used the heal scroll. The reason I did that was because you get sickened and shaken by the Lantern King. I don't know how to remove shaken. But yeah, the heal scroll removes at least second. And now I'm casting a Sirocco down here. This phase isn't very damage heavy, but the Sirocco that I cast on myself is because I have Fiery Body active. So with Sirocco cast on self, I heal a little bit of damage over time if I get hit. As I said, this phase isn't very damage heavy because you want to not be close to the Lantern King on this phase. After he casts Hold Monster, he will always cast Dominate Monster, and it's quickened, so the cast time is very quick, and you just want to get the fuck away from him whenever he's about to cast Dominate Monster, because Dominate Monster is like a kill spell in this situation. You get dominated for up to 3 minutes, and the smaller the copy Lantern Kings keep casting Sunburst, which hurts themselves, but if you're dominated, you're one of the allies as well, but yeah, it also hurts you. So you always take a little bit of damage while you're dominated, and you're gonna eventually die. So if you're dominated for 3 minutes, yeah, good luck. And yeah, that's pretty much all that is to this phase. So I cast a single Sirocco, which is specific to my Sorcerer because I have Fiery Body, and Fiery Body lets me heal off it. And then I cast all the other Siroccos up there where the Wild Hunt is gonna spawn, because for me, this phase is just preparation for the Wild Hunt, because the Wild Hunt are pretty vicious. I had a lot of anger when I fought them in Act 6 and Act 7. So my plan was to precast all my Siroccos over there where they're gonna spawn, and just keep the fuck away from the Lantern King in between rounds, in between casts. Like when I'm on cooldown, just run out of his range, because Dominate Monster has very close range, so he immediately cancels it if you go out of range. Also, the good thing about casting the Siroccos over there is that eventually the Lantern King, he's standing in it right now, so eventually he's gonna get knocked down by them as well. And while it's preparation for the Wild Hunt, it obviously helps. He is immune to fire damage, but he's not immune to the knockdown. And yeah, once again, you see Dominate Monster, you run. Oh, and also these guys down here, they can just be chomped on. They do take sneak attack damage. My invis ran out, that's why they didn't take sneak attack damage. But they are really easy to kill. The Lantern King was a mirror image, the guy that casts Dominate Monster. He's the guy who's hard to kill, he has like 56 AC. But Nyrissa does a shit ton of damage to him, so I kind of ignore him until I cast all my Siroccos and Shadow Siroccos, like Shadow Evocation Siroccos. Because I'm not gonna hit him a lot anyway. So this way, he'll just slowly but surely get whittled down by Nyrissa. She hits him for like 80 damage per hit, so it's pretty substantial if she hits him. And yeah, these fake kings that are still alive, they are gonna die eventually to the Sirocco. They're not fire immune. And to Nyrissa, if she targets them sometimes. I don't know if she actually does. So all the Siroccos are out, and I was a little bit risky here and actually attacked the Lantern King. I can't really recommend doing that. It was relatively safe to do because of all the Siroccos, he's almost permanently knocked down. But if he happened to cast Dominate Monster while I got knocked down by my own Sirocco, that would have been game over. So I'm happy it didn't happen, but yeah, as you can see, my chat called it a YOLO tactic because it was a YOLO tactic. And as I said, Nyrissa does a lot of damage to him. She just doesn't frequently hit him. As his AC is just super high. It's like 56 or something, but we also don't frequently hit him. Especially with the -2 shaken to our attack, which is kind of annoying. But we got lucky and he died. So in this position, a bit south again. So if the Wild Hunt spawns, if the next phase spawns, we're going to be able to quick save again. That's always important about each of these phases. Try to quick save. Unless you're playing last at Slanty, then good luck. But yeah, it's totally possible to use this strategy on last at Slanty. While when I streamed this live, when I tried to kill this guy live, it took me several hours to do this fight and I got very frustrated. Once I figured out the specific things I had to do for each phase, it is just something I can now repeat and not have to reload and not die. So it's definitely last at Slanty viable. It's just that when I originally did this, I would have killed several characters doing this. So this is a third phase, Wild Hunt, and this phase does a lot of damage. Originally I cast all my Siroccos there because it does heal me because of Fiery Body, but these guys have so much burst, it's just impossible to survive the burst. So I'm gonna go a little bit back. It looks always a little bit choppy if I do this, sorry about that. But as you can see, the way I engage this fight, so I don't get like one shot from the Wild Hunt's damage, is when I make them aware of my presence, I'm right next to them on the left side where Nyrissa is. Sorry about all the stupid color when I fast forward. But yeah, run towards Nyrissa when they engage and they will just immediately go on her. Even the archers way back. Like if you first run towards them and then when combat starts, run towards Nyrissa. They will just immediately target her instead, and then you go back and you kill the Monarch. It's important to kill the Monarch. So that's why I used my my Arcane Trickster ability, the impromptu sneak attack. I don't think I actually needed to use it on the Lantern King, I'm not sure, but I just left it on. It was mainly for the Monarch, because as I was told, you have to kill the Monarch first before you can kill the Lantern King. But yeah, ignore all the Wild Hunt except for the Monarch. Kill the Monarch, kill the Lantern King, and yeah, to avoid all the damage of the Wild Hunt, run towards Nyrissa. And this last phase is a little bit of bullshit. I expected this to be easy because, yeah, this guy looks like a giant ball of fire and I heal from fire damage. Turns out his attack actually does divine damage. I mean, it does both fire and divine, but the fire damage only heals me for 10 and the divine damage does up to 100. So I couldn't actually quick save here. My chat told me to quick save, but I was too close to him when he engaged, so the combat didn't end and quick saving wasn't possible. But this is relatively easy once you know what to do. So again, it's important to not get too close to him. He will still hit you for a lot of damage if you're all the way south, as I'm doing right now. I'm going all the way south, but he will still target his big beam of fire down there, like you see. He missed me there, but he comes further down and then it doesn't miss. He basically homes it on you. So what was important here, I did cast Cloud Kill. Cloud Kill is not really necessary since, once again, Nyrissa does a lot of damage to him. But what was important for me here is to actually turn human, because as a dragon I can't use items. And I bought all the heal scrolls in the shop, in like the priest shop. So I have like over 200 heal scrolls in my inventory, and because of my VV dip, I can use them without a caster check. And yeah, whenever you get hit by one of those balls of fire, as you can see, that did 108 divine damage, while I was immune to fire, and the fire healed me for 10. But yeah, just out heal his damage with heal scroll. The Cloud Kill helps him, or helps Nyrissa to kill him quicker because he's losing his constitution. If Nyrissa wasn't there, he could also die to the Cloud Kill eventually, because he's gonna go to negative constitution and that would kill him. But yeah, she's doing decent damage to him as well. I couldn't really damage him with my dragon form. I tried at first before I eventually resorted to this. But he has like 60 plus. I don't know if he has just below 60 or 60 plus, but he has around 60-ish armor. And I had like 39 attack, I think. So I just couldn't hit him. So we turn back into human, so we can use heal scrolls. As you can see, our HP is pretty low, but heal is just such a big heal, 150 HP each. Oh yeah, and as you can see, without transformation, I actually only have 24 attack. The 30 something was with transformation, with higher BAB. So it was pretty hopeless to hit him in melee. When I had my Vivisectionist, which was my first time I beat the game, I couldn't beat the Wild Hunt phase on unfair, but I didn't know that you can like get them to attack Nyrissa back then. If I had known that, I could have easily beat him in all phases on unfair. And for the Vivisectionist, this phase on unfair was super easy. The giant flaming ball. And also like the first phases were super easy. It was just the Wild Hunt that was pretty much impossible for me. But once again, I didn't know you can kite them towards Nyrissa like that. I didn't really try it. I was frustrated. It was my first playthrough, and the Wild Hunt in Act 6 and the Wild Hunt in Act 7, just, I did not like fighting them as VV, so I just turned down the difficulty to challenging. But yeah, as you can see, this is on unfair. And he's about to die. And that's it. GG.